stand your ground defense, in theory, says if you're in a public place, not in your home, if you're in a public place, you have a right to be in that public place, and someone comes up and accosts you, you have a right to stand your ground, to stay where you are. Again, there is no duty to retreat, and you can defend yourself. If you cause that person harm, you have a valid defense.
It's your right to carry a gun. We certainly appreciate the fact that other people carry guns because we cannot do this by ourselves.
Stand your ground principle becomes twisted and abused. It's a Trayvon Martin situation where someone is essentially stalking another person, comes up on that person they're stalking. The person who's being stalked turns around to defend himself. The other person who's been stalking the person then attacks that person, kills that person, the person they were stalking, and then says, well, I had a right to stand my ground because that person attacked me. That's a misguided use and really a distortion of the stand your ground principle and the castle doctrine.
That seems reasonable to me, yes.
Because why?
Well, basically, you've already induced fear into somebody, fear that they're going to possibly be injured or lose their life. And they basically started it, and pretty much just can't say, we're going to do this over. You know, it's already wrong.
If you own a firearm, or anyway, if we're talking about a hammer or anything else, and you choose to use it in self-defense, it might put the burden on you as far as to know what you can and cannot do.
I think education is going to be the biggest hurdle.
One thing that people don't understand about stand your ground is that it's not intended to allow someone to seek out harming another person, harm that person, and then say, well, I have a right to stand my ground because that person was going to harm me.
I understand the law, but it doesn't always work in, the African American male's favor.
Pretty much how every black person feel with that situation. It ain't fair. Simple as that. It just ain't fair. It couldn't have been the other way around. It wouldn't have happened if it was the other way around. It wouldn't have.
I just feel like I would have to go through a whole lot more hoops and bounds to prove that. I don't think, I would be given a bond, like Zimmerman was. I don't think I would have been able to, I think I would have had to stay in jail, fight my case from behind bars, and honestly, I don't think that would have helped, that would have worked.
The part about public policy too often is that there often has to be blood on the table before we do anything productive. I would like to do things proactively so that we can avoid blood on the table before we do things that help save people's lives.